What's up, folks? Peeps, my home skillets, whatever you want to call yourself. Welcome to the episode of Overtime presented to you by Technical File Podcast. This week, we're having a conversation. We have an idea to eventually launch like an interview series. So why not interview ourselves first? So that's what we're going to do tonight. So let's get right on into it.
It's your boy TIMKINZ, the number 3, aka Ask Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. What up, though?
I am the Eric J.
Also known as
The Eric J.
And I'm Camille, point guard of the crew, the real life Tifa Lockhart, the girl next door. You know, holding it down for all the women who love sports. And not joining us this evening is Kay Harris, the gentleman, Kay Diddy, and the everyday gentleman. But you know how that goes. So, like we mentioned, we're going to do an interview show this week. We've had this idea we've been playing around with where we want to bring folks on, have some good conversations, interview them about their sports fandom and how they got to where they are. So we decided to start with ourselves, like I said before. So let's start it here. What is your earliest sports memory? Either one of you can start. Whoever's memory pops into mind first. Let's go ahead and pop that one off.
Just sports in general, like just
Your first memory that you'd be like, dang, I remember this happening or watching this.
Or like it was noteworthy. Like the first thing that is like, sports are cool.
I won't even say. I guess from I'm a little bit different, but for me, my first sports memory, the one thing that always pops in mind whenever somebody says like, first time you think of sports, I think of T-ball. My stepdad had put me in T-ball, and I remember we used to play at Northeast Little League over here off what was that? Sherman and it's over here behind Park. I mean, yeah, it's over there behind Park. But anyways, I just remember running around the field with my little uniform on because we played for the Blue Jays. And I remember running around the field with my uniform on and just like, man, this is cool, man. Like, it wasn't even nothing like that happened yet. We were still on the pitching machine and everything. Well, T-ball, 2 pitching because I played in the Blue Jays. Like, the same squad, we kind of carried because we got to work together. But, no, I just remember, like, just being out on the field, like, dude, like, I'm out here playing sports. Like, that's usually the first thing I think of whenever anybody's like, well, what's the, first thing that comes to mind when you think about yourself in sports and everything. And maybe that's probably why I love like to play baseball. My very first memories that I can remember vividly is walking around on the road, kind of frolicking.
Not frolicking though.
In the outfield with my whole baseball jersey on. Like, man, I got the jersey on. Like, this is cool.
I love that your first sports memory isn't like something you saw on TV, but it's like what you were doing. Like that feels very Tim to me. Like it's
a little different.
No, it fits. Like, it fit not in a bad way or nothing like that, but like it fit. Like that makes sense to me. That fits.
I guess I'll keep it going. Like mine probably fits a little bit too. Was 2. One is my grandparents had this poster of the Bucks. From probably like 93. Like it had like Ty Day and Eric Murdoch on it. And I might be conflating two things because again, like if it was 93, I was like 6 years old. Right. Like I remember like the cartoon heads. Like I was fascinated with because it was like cartoon, but then it was like black cartoon characters. And then I realized like it was like a real thing. And then I think we got NBA Jam around that time. So then I could like, it was just like connecting a bunch of dots. And then another memory I have is just like being sprawled out on my grandparents' living room floor with the sports section, just like reading stats in the newspaper, or like really it was like the transactions that I was like drawn to. It was like, oh, such and such got traded from this team to this team. And like obviously back then we didn't have like Twitter or anything,
Yeah.
so like that was how you learned about like, oh, Charles Barkley got traded to the Suns or whatever.
Yeah, on brand.
Like I say, it fits.
On brand. I was also a sports section reader, but I don't recall doing that faithfully until I was like in 5th grade. So that's a little bit later. The first sports memory I have is super vivid. Being at home, and we used to have one of those old TVs in our living room that was like the screen was only like so big, but the box itself was like 8 feet long. It was just a big wooden box and this little screen. And for some reason, I don't know why, but on cable in the 90s in Milwaukee, we got, I think it was like WGN, whatever it was like a Chicago channel that we got. And you could watch every Bulls game on that channel. And my first memories are sitting in the living room on the plastic runner through the living room, on the plastic furniture, in front of this big TV with the little screen with my uncles, and seeing Michael Jordan play basketball. Like that is the very first sport memory I can remember. And then the very next one is video game wise, where my uncle, he had every system, and I would be upstairs playing this game when he was at work, little kid. And I was playing one of the basketball games he had, and like the challenge was like get a triple double. And I was like, what's a triple double? Like I was like, what does it even mean? What am I supposed to do? And I had no idea what I was supposed to do on this game to get this triple double. So I just kept playing the game. I was like, okay, I got 10 points. I got this many. I was like, what is a triple double? And it took me like, I didn't want to ask my uncles. I wanted to figure it out myself. And eventually I figured out it was, double digits in 3 different categories. So that's, video games and Jordan. And then also my uncle scaring me with P-Funk on NBA Jam as a kid, unlocking him as a character and terrifying me. So those are my earliest sports, which I guess is on brand too, that is video game related. And it was my uncles watching Jordan in the 90s. Like it was good stuff.
Yeah, that actually triggers like 2 other additional memories for me. One being that like the first memory I have of like watching sports was the 93 finals. So again, watching Jordan play. Like I just remember seeing like the Suns jerseys and Michael Jordan. Like those are my 2. Like I don't remember anything that happened. Like I think because I know what happened, like I can envision the Paxson shot, but like there's no way like I understood what was going on at that point. And then the other was video games, where like what we would now call like a play date. Like I had a play date scheduled with one of my friends, and like he had a video game system. He's like, oh yeah, I got like NBA Live and March Madness 95 or whatever it was called. And like I was like, oh, like I've never played that before. And then like I don't remember where the fuck we were at, but like somebody took us to somebody's house and they had March Madness 95 on the Sega Genesis. And they were playing. I'm like, oh, I gotta like practice before I go to my friend's house so I don't suck. so again, like it's just the stuff that you remember from childhood that sticks out.
So since we're talking about video games, and if anyone listens to our weekly show or has listened to us over the years, they might have heard us speak from time to time about us playing video games, in particular, me and Tim in random 2K tales. So that does just want me to ask you, like, how did video games, if they did, well, it sounds like they did for all of us. So how do you feel that video games help to increase your love or your interest in sport? Like, what's the connection that you all have with video games and sports?
Major. It was... So my stepdad came through and he had Sega. So the games that he had initially was like the NHL, I think 93 or 92 or something like that. Madden 93 or 92. And
when Madden was on the cover.
Yeah.
When it was just John Madden football.
Right. And then I had a Sega Genesis already beforehand. So like tennis, my mom, we used to have the Monica Seles game for Genesis. And my cousin Brian, cousin Bud, he was a big NBA fan, so he had the NBA jams or the Dream Team basketball that I wanted no part of. Like that was our quote unquote origin story. First day I met him, he wanted to, I noticed he had a Genesis. I was like, oh, you got video games. He had Golden Axe and he had Dream Team basketball that he was renting. He was already big into sports. I was into playing them. I wasn't into watching them. And he wanted to play Dream Team basketball. Like, bro, what you talking about? You got this Golden Axe game over, we can kill monsters and stuff like that. Throw these knives at folks. You want to who? Well, I don't want to play no basketball. He hated me from that moment for a little bit. But baseball, basketball, football, hockey, all of that, like video games really influenced the shit. Even NCAA, like that really made me kind of dig into, okay, well, I know this school code, who's they real players, and then want to put the real players in the games and stuff like that. So I had to pay more attention to the actual sports, and then start learning the names of players once the licenses start coming along. So it kind of helped with your knowledge of who's on these teams and things of that nature. And they started incorporating real plays and things. So it's like, it really did help coincide with my growth in loving sports and being interested in sports even more while playing.
That's fair and relatable. Yeah, video games have been a huge part just of my upbringing, even outside of sport video games. Like video games, music, sports are probably like the three components that make up Camille. And then you put in like family and love and all that stuff. And then you got a Camille.
All that other shit.
You add in like empathy and care, you know, and all that other stuff on top of that. But no, like video games were huge, and it's a common theme that I think will keep popping up if, you know, this is how these questions are going to go. But sports was like a real big bonding tool between me and my uncles, and my uncles are pretty much my dads. I grew up kind of unconventionally in the house with my mom and her brothers and my granny until she passed away. Then it was just me and my mom and my uncles. And my uncles aren't the kind of dudes who like be like, I love you and let me give you a hug and be like, I'm happy you're here and I'm proud of you. It's more of like, man, get on this game real quick so I can we can hang out for a second. So you know, I'm playing the game. So like I remember staying up all night with my uncle playing Madden over the summer, like playing Madden over and over, playing games with my cousin, Madden live, 2K, Tony Hawk with my cousins, and my guy Justin, who I don't really understand why, but he lived with us for like a summer. I don't know how that happened, but shout out to my guy Justin. And we played Tony Hawk. Like, we would just be up, like we would wake up, have breakfast, play Tony Hawk for 12 hours, and then it's time like to eat again and go back. Like it was just sport video games, and similar to Tim, they helped me understand the game. As I mentioned, remember Triple Double was thanks to Live, and help with rosters and just understanding concepts and schemes, and especially in Madden with how detailed those playbooks got. But yeah, sports and video games go hand in hand in my book. What about you, E?
The only video games I play are sports based. I mean, and that's been historically. Like the only non-sports game I can really remember playing is like Sonic 2. So like that's how far back. How far back you go? Crazy Taxi. I had Crazy Taxi for Dream.
Oh, Crazy Taxi was fun.
Other than that, I was not interested if it wasn't related to a sport, and mainly it was like football and basketball. Like occasionally I'd take a baseball game or like a fighting game or a wrestling game, but
wrestling games, man. Wrestling games is the bread and butter.
Man,
I feel like outside of like the N64 games, like wrestling games are always let me like disappointed. Like
what? Even the early SmackDown?
I'm about to say SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain. Probably
I was off wrestling by that point.
Oh man, when SmackDown 2 came out, I was like, you can create a player. I was like man,
I don't know how those games were because I was off wrestling by that point. Like N64 was like right in my wheelhouse of Attitude Era. Like WCW was still cold. Like, yeah, that was my era. Like once I got to high school, 2001, which goddamn.
Forget that you're older. That's a key difference. Yeah.
Like once I got to high school, I was like, man, I ain't watching wrestling no more. This shit what? You know, yeah. And then got out of college and I was like, I miss wrestling. give me my childhood back.
Let me hold on to something, goddamn.
Right. Like
it's grown shit for the birds.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been all sports games, and really it taught me who the players were. Like Madden ratings were like what alerted me to like, oh, this guy is cold. Like if I saw him on Madden and he was like an 80 something or 90 something, and then I saw him like in the actual games, I'm like, oh, that dude cold. Like the best example I have is like Chris Jenkins from the Panthers. Like I wouldn't know that man from Adam, but he was like a 90 something on Madden. So I'm like, he got to be cold.
Cold defensive end, bro.
Right. And then the Packers had his brother, but yeah, it like taught me who the players were, and got me like, especially like when franchise mode came out, like that just that was my shit. So again, like a through line for all these things like transactions and team building and player like learning players and stats and yeah. So yeah, that's been my experience. And like now I'm exclusively 2K, and I've been probably like 2 or 3 years back because I just played franchise mode, and it's like I'm not finna keep paying however many dollars. I don't even know how much it costs now. Was it like 70?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you because I'm gonna just buy it.
I believe it's 70 for the regular version. For this, the regular is $70.
That sounds right. Because the controller I think is 60 now. So
yeah, I still got PlayStation 4. I'm still playing 2K21.
You want the Jordan version of the new 2K? Probably gonna cost you $115.
I'm good. Because again, I'm just gonna play franchise mode. So the association? So
you don't want to get Chet on the game, fam?
No, they got downloadable draft classes.
Oh, they download the draft classes and keep it pushing.
Exactly.
That's true.
And again, like that's how I learned who like all these draft players are like before they even get to the league. Because like people be doing draft classes out for like 6 years, and they just take the rankings, and I'm like, oh, I recognize that name from 2K. So it continues to this day.
Video games and sports, man, it's a great marriage. It's a great marriage.
For sure. I guess like we can start, like we can kind of back up a little bit. Like, what are your fandoms? Who do you consider yourself fans of? It can be teams, players, both, neither.
I'm a hometown rapper. When I was single, back long time ago, I used to always long time ago. I used to always use this as a litmus test when I was talking to men and ask them about their fandom, because I believe you can tell a lot about a person based on how they choose to cheer for, who they cheer for, and the depths of said loyalty.
Wait, before you, sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but what would you do if like they weren't in the sports? Like, would that just be automatic? Like, we weren't going to work out. Especially when I was younger, we really were not going to work out. I used to be extreme. Like Packers were playing, I would be like, don't one contact me unless you want to talk about the game. Like for the next 4 hours, don't call me, don't text me unless it's about this game. So if you weren't into sports when I was in college, like we wouldn't be talk like, wasn't nothing to talk about. But no. So I used to always try to stay away from men who were more like bandwagoners. I'm like, you just told me you were a fan of this team. How are you a fan of them now? And then they'd be, oh, well, I never really said I was a fan. I'm like, red flags. Can't date you. Something
you ain't loyal.
Something ain't right. Something ain't right. But yeah, I'm a hometown fan. So born and raised Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fan of Bucks for sure. Rep. Packers, Brewers, but I'm biggest fan of the Bucks, then Packers, then Brewers. Big Marquette fan, went to Marquette, cheer them on. On general principle, I have to hate the Badgers. But
what about UWM?
UWM, that's like Packers and Vikings, where it's like I don't really think too much about UWM.
That was a setup too. You know what that was.
I'm like, you scared to pass the whole other D1.
It ain't the same. It ain't the same. They cool. That's like little bro. So that's cool.
Fuck out of here.
But yeah, that's like my general fandom. I just keep it home and cheer on.
I'm in essence the same way, but I realized it a while ago, but it's kind of a realization earlier today. I am a huge fan of underdogs. Huge fan. That could be because of our fandom, because like the Bucks were underdogs damn near the entire time we've been watching them, except for the last couple of years. Brewers been the same way. They damn near been underdogs the entire time we've been watching until recently. Granted, they ain't get no chip, but they can compete against some cats. Packers, they've been winning since we've been watching. That's kind of double back to the first thing I can vividly remember watching a sport was the Packers Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
That was the first one I can remember vividly when I'm like really into it, paying attention to it, like
babies.
Into it. And then, but no, I'm so hometown. And I like the Badgers too. Outside of Marquette, I also like the Badgers, Marquette, and UWM. Any of them doing good, I'm happy for all of them. But like I said, I'm a fan of underdogs, so I am a Manchester City fan for soccer. But I've been a Manchester City fan since they were dirt poor and they sucked.
As a non-soccer fan, I always get Man City and Man United confused. Is there an easy way for me to remember like the difference between the
Crips
two?
and Bloods? We the Crips.
He ain't wrong.
That's exactly how they act. That's how they treat it. It's red versus blue. It's the Red Devils. It's the Citizens. Yeah, no, bro. It's red versus blue. We the blue guys.
That actually will help. Thank you.
I believe that their fortunes have flipped. Like when, like Tim was saying, like Man City used to be the poor team that didn't really have the shine, and Man U was like the glamour franchise, and like now it's kind of flipped. Like I don't know what Man U is up to, but like I know that they're prestige.
They still up there. They stick around the top six to 4. They usually
like Man U used to have like David Beckham. Like they were the play. If you wanted Real Madrid, Barcelona, it was Man United. Like they were legitimately there. Like you said, the David Beckhams, the Paul Scholes, the Wayne Rooneys, the so many. Anyways, yeah. So we was dirt poor. We sucked. I like Man City. Then the Abu Dhabi came in, cashed us out with billions of dollars, and now we are damn near one of the best franchises in the world of sports. I am a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. What'd you say? Blood money.
I thought they heard blood money.
Yeah. That was before it actually became blood money, though. From all we know.
Let's move on.
But yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Again, I kind of alluded to it on the show, but my stepdad kind of got me into them because he was a David Garrard fan. But at the time, Byron Leftwich wasn't too bad. So I was like, okay, black quarterback guy. Like, we messing with it down in Jacksonville. And then he was like, hey, the dude that they got behind him even better. Byron Leftwich started to suck. David Garrard actually gave him like a little shot. I think one good season that he had, I was actually following Jacksonville. I was like, you know what? These cats ain't half bad. Like, you was on to something. No, he was not. He was not. He was not. But I've kind of stuck around with them because I'm like, okay, well, let's just see what they do. Like, I've always been fascinated of what they would do and this is an expansion team that ain't really got past the expansion phase.
To double back to something that you said before Eric answers about his fandom, you mentioned one of your earliest memories being the Packers Patriot Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And you just being like, man, like this is my team, this is my squad. I also remember watching that Super Bowl vividly. That was the first Brett Favre Super Bowl, right? The
Desmond Howard touchdown.
Everything was like Packer crazy in the state. Like school, everything was Packer all the time. We had the Pack Arena, and we was doing that at the Mock Arena.
They had the song.
A whole song.
Our music teachers created a song. Who is the best Packers among the rest? Like it was on the news and shit. Yeah, it was kind of cool. I was one of them Rock Arena kids.
Remember taking we had a game of Monopoly. I took the box, took the top of it, and made a sign to hold up while I was watching the game at home as a kid. Because we had telling all my secrets.
See you all the way from New Orleans.
All right. So I had wrote on the box, I'm a Henderson too. That was my maiden name. I'm a Henderson too. And I held it up because I used to love William Henderson. So we had the same last name. So I was holding my little sign up, watching the game. And it's not like he was like a superstar on the team, but like he had my name. So I was like, I'm cheering for this guy.
I went to the Packers played like some charity basketball game and William Henderson was playing. And then like they would come and pick kids out the crowd to like shoot free throws. And I remember he came and picked me up, big as hell. His neck was like as thick as my waist. But like he came, plucked me out the crowd. I got to go shoot my little free throw. I probably missed, and then I ran back to my seat. Like that's my William Henderson story.
Yeah.
But fandom. I'm a basketball fan first and foremost. So, but I've lived and died with the Bucks probably my whole life, but like hardcore since I don't even know. Like let's just say my whole life. But like I've been following them online probably since like 05, 06, Real GM boards. So like I've been there for like the bottom like they were hot garbage, like
giving away seats.
Michael Redd was their best player, getting excited about like Bobby Simmons signings and drafting Joe Alexander and like just John Salmons was like our
that missing piece.
Up, you know what I mean? Like
that was part
fear
of
the deer.
Me and Eric became super cool. Like we were going to cheap Bucks games all the time because it was $20 to sit lower levels. We were in college, like, let's go.
Yeah,
the Joe Smith games.
We were longing for the Joe Smith days. Like,
man, we got a forward now. He can hit that midi, man. He hitting that motherfucker, man, and he can block shots. He kind of bored too. I like his afro.
But yeah, so I'm a Bucks fan first and foremost. Like I used to really be into football, like kind of for a multitude of reasons. I'm kind of off that, but I'll still watch Packers games. Again, like much like y'all, hometown representative. Yeah, like I don't follow players all that much at this point because like I'm older than everybody and that feels weird.
That's real. I hope that card I just went past wasn't too loud, but if it was, I apologize because I was sitting here like, chill out. I'm recording the episode right now. But we're actually going to take a real quick commercial break. If you're listening on TGN app, enjoy the reads from our sponsors. Watching on YouTube, we'll be back before you even realize you missed us. We'll be back. And we're back, party people. Tech File here doing an episode of Overtime. We got Tim. We got Eric, myself, Camille. Ken is not with us this week, but he's always here in spirit, but of course. And we're just previewing an interview format show that we're thinking of launching with other people. So you'll be able to hear some other folks, of course, from the TGN network on here eventually getting interviewed some of these same questions. And we got some other things that we're trying to work on who we can get on here to interview. So, but for right now, we're interviewing ourselves. This is like a get to know Tech File type of episode. And we just got done talking about like our earliest sports memories, how video games played in with our love of sports, and then just our general fandom and what teams we rep, what teams we cheer for. So speaking of teams we cheer for and all that stuff, I just want to know, do y'all have any superstitions when y'all watch games just to make sure that your team is going to win? Or if it's a big game, you do something different? Or is it different every season? Like you have a superstition. So where do y'all land on that?
On principle, I am not a superstitious person. Like I know that nothing that I do can affect the outcome of a game that I have no no bearing on. But with that with that said, like if I find something, like if I do something and my team wins, like I just got like I don't want to be the reason why they lose. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what butterfly effect, like contributed to that positive outcome, but I don't want to change it in the event, like, it's a chain reaction type of deal. So like last year for the finals when the Bucks were in it, my wife went and got a pedicure and a manicure. So like I went with her and I got like 2 nails, like 1 green, 1 cream. I was like, I'm stick with it. And after I did that, they ain't lose a game. And then like when the playoffs rolled around this year, I'm like, I want to do it, but like maybe it only works when we get to the finals. So I don't want to do it too early. So I didn't do it this year and they got eliminated. So like it might have been on me. And the other thing is like let me grab it.
This is why you should always tune into the video version of our show. You get props.
I got my Bucks championship ring, which I don't know if it's blurred out a little bit.
Okay.
But like I started wearing that like near the end of the season when they were like on bullshit, and then they started winning. So I'm like, oh, I gotta wear my ring. It worked until midway through the Boston series, and it was like, okay, never mind. But I think it was like one of those games where they were down. Maybe it was game 5. They were down at halftime, and I hadn't worn it because they had lost the game before that. And I put it on at halftime, and then they made that comeback. I was like, oh, gotta bring the ring back. And then that was
you ain't wear game 6.
I did wear game 6, and then they,
See, I said maybe I shouldn't have been there.
I do that too sometimes. Didn't y'all also go to a Brewers playoff game?
The game 7.
Game 7 NLCS.
Yep. I was like,
but I also went to game 4 of the NBA Finals, and they won. So it ain't me. It might be Tim.
Well, damn.
You said they keep losing. I went to a win, so I don't know what to tell you.
Listen, I'm not even gonna hold you. Yeah, I'm the type of person, like Eric said, like, great. I am superstitious to an extent, but I am a creature of habit if it results in my team winning. So if the week before I had nachos with like Arnold Palmer or some shit sitting in the crib, next week, you're gonna find me at the crib with Arnold Palmer with some nachos. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want no nachos that day, but I gotta eat some for the game because we won last week because of that. If we lose that week, fuck them nachos. We're gonna find something. Like, I take this on a case by case basis at times. So for the most part, but during the Bucks season, I got a green light on up here.
Oh, I see.
Usually during the games, I would turn the light on, and there'd be some good ass games. They be, I ain't gonna say we won all of them, but they be some good ass games. So at least if I want to be entertained, I turn the light on.
I feel it.
But that's about it. I ain't got no rituals where
we kind of did that as a group though, didn't we? Like when the Packers went on that run and we had to keep going back to Skybox.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and we lost to Seattle that year.
We tried to sit at the same table that we sat at the last time, and
that almost happened. We didn't quite sit at the right table.
And then Brandon Bostic happened.
Yeah. Oh no! Don't forget about haha. There are several factors that game. Several factors. Tremont Williams getting burned first play of the game. Overtime. Brandon Bostic.
It's been 9 years. Camille still ain't over.
Fake
punts. That's like my biggest sport heartbreak. That moment, that game, that whole day, that that's supposed to be the year.
Yeah.
But it was not.
Cardinals year was our year.
So many years are supposed to be our year.
Both Cardinals years were our year.
The face mask and the Larry Fitzgerald screen. The
second time we lost to the Cardinals in the playoffs, y'all were all at my place.
Yeah.
And I remember when we got our hopes up because we thought we went to
that was like when they Jeff Janis.
And then
both Hail Marys.
Then we lost, and I think I turned on like Law and Order SVU because I said this fits my mood better than watching any post game shows or something like that. But
you was wild. I remember vividly what you said that day, but
we ain't gonna say it on the air.
It ain't safe for the kids.
It ain't safe for the airway. That's friendship right there, people. You don't.
Y'all can tell me off air because I don't remember.
We will. I remember. But anywho, Superstitions. I used to be more it's very similar to y'all. Again, like I said, I used to have Packer contact rules that went into effect. Every pack, it was legit. I have Facebook statuses that appear in my memories throughout Facebook or throughout football season where I'm like, wow, Camille. And it's like, football contact rules are in effect. If you aren't high on my list of importance, please do not call or text me for the next 4 hours. I am watching the Packers and analyzing the game. I also used to not play Madden during the regular season. That was a weird superstition that I had, but I only used to play Madden when it came out until the season started. And then I might play a game or two in the regular season, but like once the playoffs started, there was no Madden being played until the Packers were done.
Why not?
And then I don't know. I think the year we won Super Bowl, I didn't play the game through the playoffs. So I was like, I'm not keep not playing the game. And that didn't help because we ain't been back since. So clearly,
2011?
Huh?
That was the 2011 season? Or 10. I'm sorry, 10, because 11 was another season of hopes.
Because keep in mind, too.
11, we were at the playoff game.
Yeah. So I definitely wasn't playing Madden. But that was one of them I had. And then when it comes to like, I had quite a few Packers ones. I never had any with the Bucks outside of when I was watching them. Like, I just like to watch at home because I can like vent and do what I need to do. But I used to, whenever I wore a Brett Favre jersey, no, it was whenever I wore my Aaron Rodgers jersey, they lost. I had the very first Aaron Rodgers jersey I bought. I bought it when Brett Favre went to Minnesota, and I was like, if I got my quarterback, I'm ready to blah, blah, blah. And every time I wore that doggone jersey, they lost. I believe I gave it to Sam because I can't wear this anymore. There's something about this jersey me that don't do well together. So
the
L's kept coming whenever I wore
fit.
it. I couldn't wear it no more. I couldn't do it.
It's an omen of things to come.
Little did I know.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, actually, like now I say that, we went to a playoff game. Me and Camille went to a playoff game and they lost, got eliminated. Me and Tim went to a playoff game together. They lost, got eliminated. Maybe I just can't go to playoff games with y'all.
Me, you gonna play?
I'm just saying, like, if we talk about superstitions, like that's bad juju.
Maybe it's the play. I don't know, because we went to plenty of regular season games and they won all them mugs.
Yeah, they were 15-1 that year. That's what made that loss even worse. It was like, I really thought he was going to the championship. Like,
Boy, offense couldn't be stopped. They was all over the Sports Center, the Sports Illustrated, ESPN, the magazine, five receivers out there chilling, the Yak Squad.
You would have thought.
That was a crazy wide receiver room, though. I'm not gonna hold you. That was a wild
offense, man.
Okay, well, since we're talking about losses, let's just get this out of here. What's your biggest sports heartbreak?
Honestly, it's Packers.
It's probably
the first loss to the Cardinals. That was the worst one for me.
The face mask?
The face mask game. Like, because it was a gut punch. And, like, I hadn't been, like, all the rest of them was like, I've been here before. I know how to deal with this. Like, with the Packers, like, that was really the first time I was, like, invested, like as an adult. Right, because it was, like, after all the Favre shit, so I was, like, really invested. I'm like, yeah, Rodgers is my dude. Like, we don't need no Favre, fuck Favre, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, yeah, we gonna do it. And then it's like, it was just over. You know what I mean? Like, it was sudden death overtime, and it was face mask, fumble, touchdown, get the fuck out of here. It's just like, wait, what just happened? I thought we were going to
no flags on the play.
Right. I'm like, his hand is clearly on his face mask. That's a penalty. Like,
you just kept waiting for the flag to come for you to like do it over.
No replay.
No.
Like that.
If this was today's era, it wouldn't have been a touchdown because they'd automatically reviewed it.
Yep.
So that was why it was the worst for me, because it was just like, again, the sudden death of it, the investment. I was very emotional. I did not want to talk to anybody for at least a week.
Yeah, I feel it. Like I alluded to, that Seahawks playoff loss was my biggest sport heartbreak. That's where I get into trouble, when I feel things are fated to be or meant to be, because sometimes I get a special feeling like, oh, it's going to happen. And two of those times I felt that feeling, championships were had with the Bucks and the Packers. So that's a 10-year gap in between the feeling actually paying off. So I had a feeling for that Packer team that year. Like, I really believe we were all together at Skybox. I was engaged, and I had plans to go try on for my bridesmaids to try on their dresses right after the game. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be perfect. We're gonna win, woo, and I'm gonna go do this, and it's gonna be a great night. And then we lost, and I drove to the bridal salon just crying in tears. I was heartbroken. I was devastated. And I get to the showing, and I'm like, I really don't want to do this with y'all here tonight. Forget this wedding right now. I really just want to drink my sorrows away and cry some more, because we should have won this game. But Brandon Bostic wanted to be a hero, and here we are. So that night was difficult. But again, I picked the right bridesmaids because they all knew how I was feeling and why I was feeling that way. And they were so kind and so generous, and they moved faster than what they normally would have to get things done to get me out of that situation. So Love all of them. I appreciate that. But yeah, the Packers really broke my heart that day. And then I'm not gonna let them get my hopes back up. So when they lost to the Cardinals after, I was like, "No, I'm done. It's cool, whatever." Woo, woo, woo. And then we went to overtime. I was like, "Oh, maybe it's fate again." And the next thing I know, I'm making inappropriate comments to my friends, and they lose. So it is what it is. Tim, what about you?
I feel like that Cardinals game probably, but I will say for number 2. The Cardinals game number 2. I was hurt because Larry Fitzgerald still wasn't that damn fast. And they literally ran the whole damn team around this nigga, man. They was in front of him, then on the side of him. Then there was at least 3 people, at least a half a yard, maybe a half a toenail behind that man, and he just kept running and kept running and kept running to the fucking goal line. And then they did that stupid pitch, bro.
Oh my god!
Ending was just. But regular season, I guess most of my heartbreak comes from these damn Packers.
Yes,
the Hail Mary. That shit really had me just like.
Oh,
It was one of those. I can't get
too amped up over regular season. It's like.
I hear you, but
it was that was hot.
I was heated though, because it felt like, as always, the world is against the Wisconsin teams. It felt like the world is always against the Wisconsin teams to me. Like whenever we gotta win some shit, we gotta fight them and the refs. Is how I be feeling. So that game, it was like the epitome of here we go again. They just not letting us have nothing, nothing. Wait, wasn't the Hail Mary game right after we lost to the Seahawks in the playoffs the year before?
I think so.
I think that's why it hurt even more. I think that may have been why it hurt even more. I'll have to do some Googles on it, but I feel like that was right after we lost to the Seahawks in the playoffs that year. Like, bro, what? To them again?
You know, actually, I think probably Hail Mary didn't bother me because I didn't watch it live. Like, had I stayed up and watched the end of that game, I probably would have been pissed. But
no, and I was on Packers Twitter. It was hot. Everybody was calling the league office. I left a voicemail myself. I was mad that night. I definitely called the dad and left
him went full Karen.
Letter.
She's
like, Roger, Twitter. This will not stand.
I said, y'all better hire some real refs.
Oh, that's because when the refs was on strike and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the real refs came back the next week.
Everybody was pissed that year.
That's everybody was pissed.
Refs was on strike, they mad. Fans is mad as hell because the refs is on strike, so these replacement refs was fucking up every game. They was legitimately, like, it felt like, I think every week they had the refs control the outcome of a game.
They were bad.
It was bad. Yeah, and we just so happened to be on the odd end of that stick for once. And everybody remember, people who are not even fans of the Packers or the Seahawks know what the Hail fucking Mary is. That moment was huge.
Let's bring us back up. Yeah, what's your happiest moment as a sports fan?
Oh shit, was it?
I mean, for me, it's the most recent one.
I was gonna say it's easy for me, Bucks and 6.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, was it the Bucks or was it the Packers?
Because here's the thing to keep it when thinking about this question is when the Packers won the Super Bowl, I was probably like at my peak Packers. Like I was heavy into the Packers. So seeing them win, especially with Aaron Rodgers after the whole Brett Favre ordeal, was really, really sweet. And I had a lot of fun being able to celebrate that Super Bowl victory on Water Street, like to be able to be of the right age, to go out afterwards and then have all of that energy.
Drinks flowing.
Alongside with it. But to the same effect, I do remember saying like a few years after when I really got deep into like my Bucks fandom when we were bad and it was very cheap and me and Eric spent time arguing about the viability of a Brandon Jennings, Monte Ellis backcourt.
I fucked with it. I really liked it.
I was trying to talk Eric into it and he was never going, but
it was the Monte factor. I don't think it was Jennings. I think it was more so Monte than Jennings.
It was the fact that they were both like 6'2".
Monte has it all though.
At best.
Monte had all the shots. He had all the goddamn shit.
That's still one of my favorite just like clips when they some of him. I think it was him and D Wade being compared. He's like, "What you mean?" what he got that I ain't got? Monte got it all. I was like, okay, Monte. But no, when I was watching them be really bad, I started thinking about like what championship I want to see next. And I kept saying, like, if the Bucks win a championship, it'll hit a lot differently. Because even though we're in Wisconsin and the Packers are loved throughout the state, the Packers are probably the team darling of the state of Wisconsin. Like, we had to pick one team representing Wisconsin, it's probably the Packers generally. But for me, as somebody from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, decided to stay in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to see a team with Milwaukee in the title win a championship, to see the Milwaukee Bucks, to see Fiserv Forum down the street from my job, to see my city highlighted and winning a championship with a superstar player that I've been able to watch since he came into the league, night in, night out, watch what he did with Chris, see how he's developed over the years after all the trade rumors and all the arguments and all the Brook Lopez stuff and so on and so forth. To be able to see that group win a championship, I felt more happiness in that moment than I did in that Packers moment, although that Packers moment was also very high of happiness. Like, if I was ranking happy moments, it's probably like top 15 and like life happy moments. But the Bucks, it takes the cake for me. This team is special. I've never had a love affair with a team like how I do with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, same. Like I said at the beginning, basketball is my favorite sport. Like, I've followed the Bucks since I could start reading. Like, again, my earliest sports memory is Bucks related. Like, they've held such a place in my life. Like, I'm almost 35 years old. Like, I've had Bucks memories going back 32 years or whatever it is. Like, it's really crazy. Or I guess like my math is off, like 30 years. But like, I got to go to game 4 of the finals last year with my grandfather, who basically was like my introduction into sports at all. Like, he still to this day sits up and watches like every Brewers game. Like, it's just I can't stand watching baseball on TV, but he sits up there every day and he's just like, I don't know. And I remember, like, watching the Bucks when nobody else did. Like, nobody cared about the Bucks. You could walk up to a random person on the street, they probably couldn't name more than one Buck at a time.
Getting laughed at.
If you lucky. Like, you can never find Bucks gear in any department store. Like, you literally had to like know the spots that sold Bucks merchandise. It was so sparse, like around the city. Like, you could get Packers gear everywhere.
At a gas
it didn't even have to be a store. Like, it could just be a random dude on the street selling Packers merchandise. Like, Packers stuff is so ubiquitous in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Brewer stuff you can get anywhere. Buck stuff was impossible to find unless you went to like, I don't even know, like not even Champs. Like, you know what I mean? Like Champs Sports didn't matter. Like, you literally had, like, again, like I said, like, you had to find the spot, and like nobody wanted to talk about the Bucks. Like, every Milwaukee basketball fan they're like, oh yeah, we watch the Bucks because they're on TV here, but like they had a favorite team that wasn't in Milwaukee. Like, I wish Ken was here, because I'd be like, Ken is like a prime example of like, you had to like outsource your sports fandom to a different place because like there was no hope here. And even I did it sometimes. It was like, okay, the Bucks are my team, but like I gotta have like a team that I'm actually root for in the playoffs. Like, for sometimes it was the Lakers, sometimes make something happen. Right? It was like, once the Bucks get eliminated, then I'm gonna start rooting for this team, like as my proxy. So like having them become that team, having Giannis become what he is, like seeing that growth from the worst times of the Herb Cole era to the top of the mountaintop, like, is like, it hits harder than pretty much anything in sports could have. And like, I think for the Packers, I saw the Super Bowl in 96 or 97 technically, and that's, like, so I'd seen them win again, and like, it wasn't a culmination when they got back in 2011, so, or 2010.
To your point about how rough it was to be a Bucks fan in Milwaukee when they were bad, when me and my husband were still dating, we would go out to bars. Like they would have high school hockey games on over Bucks games, and me and him would go to the bartender like, "Could you turn the Bucks game on?" And the bartender would be like, "Really?" And he'd be like, "Yes, turn it on. I don't want to watch high school hockey. Turn it on. Turn the Bucks on."
Actually, think about our first like tech file. What was that? I think it was our first tech file out. We had that bar, and we had to ask them because the Brewer game was on because they was in the playoffs, and the whole bar was full of Brewers. Every TV, it was about like 8 to 10 TVs in that damn bar. Every single one, except for that one
Little
in the corner, had the Bucks game on. And the minute the Brewer game was over, I think we ended up losing that night. The rest of the bar emptied out, and it was none but the Bucks game on there. And even so, they still only put it on like the next biggest TV.
Yeah, they still didn't get like the full TV service that the Brewers had just had. And I get that it was a Brewers playoff game, but it was also a season opening game for
First
the
game
Bud.
of the Bud era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that game was against the Charlotte Hornets. I remember it vividly for some, maybe because it was an event that we threw, and I remember Kimba cooking.
Oh my God, he was.
Yeah, but Tim, what's your happy? Did you decide between Packers and Bucks?
Us, the Packers.
It's Packers for you?
Like, because football has always still been like
Your
basketball. I've been growing more of an affinity for over the last couple of years, especially due to the show. But football has always been like my number one love to watch and keep up with and things of that nature. So the Packers, again, my first memory I could think of was the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like for me, that Packers win was at a certain time in my life too. I was at Mega Media at the time though, so it was that phase of my life. And my main getaway for a lot of that, the conversation and things like that, was talking about the Packers. Was talking about football and shit like that. So for me, them winning it, and then the way that they won it with Charles wasn't even playing, Nick Collins had got hurt. Like we was dropping our starters left and freaking right. Like we still ended up bringing out the W in that, fighting the Bears' third string quarterback, who they thought was gonna be the truth. Caleb Haney. They thought that man was the answer from God. But I mean, just like that whole run could be in the 6th seed all the way to the end. Like it was.
How we got into the wild card.
Man, just like the whole season. That whole season for me was very magical, and it was huge because, again, like, yeah, I remember the 96 Super Bowl, but then from that point, we didn't really have nothing. Like you said, the Favre era, we had some down years when we sucked. So just coming through all of that.
They only had like 2 years.
They had 2 years that they were below 500 in like.
It was the 4-12 year. And we had a 8-8 year because I remember.
And those were like the only years.
Yeah, that's it.
12-4 or something like that.
Well, what's his name? Went 7-9 and he got. Oh no, wasn't it Ray Rose went 8-8, got fired, and then Mike Sherman had a 4-12 year and he got fired. Other than that, they were above 500 every year.
Yeah, but for us, that wasn't enough.
So, what we plan to do when we're interviewing people for this show is to end our interview segment with a couple questions that we've debated on our show all the time. That we never will agree. We won't change each other's mind. It is what it is. So rapid fire to end the show. I'm going to ask 3 of those questions for us to answer, and then we can head out. The first one, when it comes to water, do you like your water room temperature or ice cold?
Call me Andre 3000 because I wanted ice cold.
Room temperature over here.
Mm-hmm.
Gag.
2-on-1 for the room temp.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather get dunked on or crossed over?
I still say crossed over.
You dunk on me. Getting crossed over is worse in my opinion.
There's something emasculating about getting dunked on, so I'm going to go across the.
It truly is. Like, bro, then they come down and shit.
It's an occupational hazard. It's just gonna happen if you jump.
But you're a woman, like, so getting emasculated, like, it don't hit the same. Like, it's a different energy. Like, there's a domination factor. Like, get crossed up, very trip.
And then one more to end it. Are you Team Cap or you Team Iron Man?
Team Cap.
Iron Man, fuck you mean? I was just saying that shit for the day. I recorded it. I was gonna send y'all the video. Fuck Cap.
And that's it. That's what we're gonna do for these interview shows. We hope y'all enjoyed it. If y'all have any feedback for us or questions that you think we should ask, let us know. We'll definitely incorporate that. As always, we appreciate y'all. Be safe. Be well. If you want to follow me on social media, you can catch me.
Wait a minute.
on Twitter, Instagram, and these PSN 2K streets at Camille Monet, CAMILLEMONAE.
Because wait, you said
we done with that, man. We retired.
Here you go. Here you go. Well, here you go. We just talked about this. Here you go. All right. You
ain't gonna respect my wishes?
I'm telling your mama. See how well they
you ain't fancy. At your 2021 NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks burner on Twitter.
That's all you get.
That's all you get.
And it's your boy TIMKINZ, the number 3, aka Ass Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. I ain't gonna yell. It's kind of late now. Nobody. Bye.
Bye.
We out.
Peace.